I'm Kaylee, and today for Bible Study for Kids, we are going to be reading Joseph and the Silver Cup in God's Saving Power. Genesis 43.26-49.15. I hope you guys enjoy the story. Now, let's get started. And make sure you're following along too. Joseph wasn't through with his brothers yet. He needed to test them still. Were they still the same mean brothers who sold their little brother just to make a few bucks? Or they had changed? Or they changed? Did they still only care about themselves and what they wanted? I don't know what they did. Did they still only care about themselves and what they want? Oh, I already read that. That was Joseph needing to find out. And so his brothers were waiting for the governor of all Egypt to come home. They had their gifts laid out. The palms of their hands were sweaty. What was going to happen next? When Joseph walked into the room, his brothers bowed low to the floor, just like Joseph's dreams again. One of the brothers had laughed at. But then Joseph surprised them. He was so nice to them. His brothers still didn't know what he really was. Who he really was. He asked them how. They all were, and he asked, "And what is your father? Is he still alive?" I don't know if he's alive, but if he was, then that would be super. They will be super happy. I mean, like, that would be the best thing of all time. And yeah. Let's get on with the stories. Still didn't know. Your servant, our father, is very much alive and well. The brothers answered, and they bowed low to the ground again. Well, that's really nice to do. And yeah. And then Joseph saw his brother Benjamin. Remember, Benjamin was Joseph's little brother. And then he missed his baby brother very much. Even though he wasn't a baby anymore. "This is your brother Benjamin," Joseph asked, still pretending he didn't know them. "May God bless you." Joseph and his said to his little brother, and then tears began to fill his eyes. He had to run from the room to his brothers before his brothers could see him cry. Well, if you have feelings about not seeing your brother, then that would be brother or sister if you have like two siblings or something. And that would be really sad, so you would start to like meet them again, and then you would like get all happy, hug each other, cry about it, use like happy tears or sad tears. You could do that sometimes. Or you could just like think about them if you haven't seen them in a very long time. That's what I did one time when I haven't seen my friend. So let's get back with the story. "Let's eat," he said. He clapped his hands, and immediately his servants began to bring in great platters of food. Now Egyptians thought they are better than other people. God loves each of us just the same, and more than we could ever know. So the Egyptians in Joseph's household ate at one table. When the 11 brothers ate at another, Joseph ate at the table all by himself. But then, to his brothers' complete surprise, Joseph got up and served them himself. The governor of all Egypt was serving them. And then the best stuff from his own table, well, it's just like God of the universe gives us the best stuff from his table every day. And that's in every day. It is an amazing thing. It actually is an amazing thing. Because God blesses you every day, like I said in the other story. And we're on page 4 and almost done with the story. So I don't want to like spoil this or anything. So let's just get back with the story. The brothers were seated by their age, the oldest to the youngest, and as Joseph served them, they could believe what was happening. They hardly even noticed that Joseph gave his brother Benjamin 5 times as much as anyone else. You can be sure if they were home and any of one got as much as one bite more than another, there would be trouble. You know how that goes. But brothers were so amazed at their good fortune and having such a wonderful time at this great feast. They didn't even notice. How strange. Here they thought they were going to be in big trouble. Instead they were invited to a feast. That is so nice of somebody to invite them. It's just really nice. And yeah, let's get back with the story. I wonder if that's how it is with us. Sometimes we are sure God must be mad at us, and sometimes for a good reason. But he loves us so much, and he's forgiving, and he is so forgiving. He really is preparing a great feast for us instead. When they had finished, Joseph gave these instructions to his steward. Fill the men packs as much food as they can carry. And they put each man silver's black in his pack. And they put my silver cup in the mouth of the youngest one pack along with his silver and his grain. The next morning, just as golden light of a new day was beginning to fill the sky, the brothers loaded their packs of donkeys and started for home. Okay, let's get started. Let's get back with the story. Joseph waited a bit, and then he said to his steward, "Go after them," say to them. Why have you repaid good with evil? My master's silver cup is missing. What are you thinking about? The brothers said when Joseph's steward have caught up with them. Why would he steal your master's cup? He even brought back the silver he found in our packs the last time. If you find the cup with any of us, let the one who has it die, and the rest of us will become your slaves. Oops. Remember, I had promised their father that nothing would happen to their brother Benjamin, and the cup was in his pack. The steward said, "Very well, but I must find my master's cup and then the rest of you can go free. Only the one who has it will become my slave." They each lowered their packs to the ground, and the steward began searching them. They started with the oldest, went by and they went one by one, oldest to youngest, until he came to Benjamin. Benjamin opened his pack, and there was Joseph's silver cup. Then he couldn't believe their eyes. How can this be? How can this be? The brothers cried, and then they tore their clothes and fell to the ground. "What will we do now?" There was only one thing they could do. They had to go back and plead for Benjamin's life. Wow. 2 more pages and then our Bible study is over. Joseph was still at his home with Judah, and his brothers rushed in and threw themselves to the ground at Joseph's feet. "What have you done?" Joseph said. Did you really think you could get away with anything?" "What can we say?" Judah pleaded. "Your God knows everything, and it is impossible to get away with anything with him. We had your cup, and now we had all believe your slaves." But Joseph said, "No, only one of you is guilty. He will be my slave. The rest of you may go home to your father." But Judah begged him, "Please, sir, I am only a humble servant, and you are as great as Pharaoh himself. But may I say something? We brought back our brother Benjamin, just like you asked us to. But our father is old, and we love his wife, Rachel, dearly, and she gave him 2 sons in his old age. One is dead, and now you wish to take the other. Please, sir, my father loves Benjamin so much. It would break his heart if he loses him too." And then Judah admitted everything that had happened. Now, how it nearly broke his father's heart when he believed that his son Joseph had been killed by wild animals. Wow. He got killed by wild animals. And what the other parts I was reading, that must have been a lot of work. And the other page about Benjamin and his pack, that was Joseph Silver's cup. I can't even believe. Let's get back with the story, and then we can talk about the story after. So let's get back with the story. And then Judah admitted everything that had happened, nearly broke his father's heart when he believed in his wild animals. "Let me stay and become your slave," Judah said. "I could bear to tell my father that Benjamin was gone too." Once of his brothers sold their brother Joseph into slavery, but now they were willing to become slaves themselves to keep their brother Benjamin safe. Before they were willing to let their father think, Joseph was dead, and now they would do anything to keep from hurting him again. That is really, really sad. Now let's get back with the story. They really had changed. They really did care. Finally, Joseph couldn't keep it in anymore. Tears began to fill his eyes. "Please," he said to his servants, "everyone go. Leave me alone with these men." He said to the servants, "Everyone go. Leave me alone with these men." With his servants had left, and Joseph was alone with his brothers. He broke down and cried so hard and so loud that everyone in his house could hear. "I am your brother, Joseph," he said through his tears. Please, you must tell me how is your father." But his brothers were terrified, so they could not say a word. Joseph opened his arms and said, I am your brother, the one you sold into Egypt. Don't be afraid." And then he told them, "There are still 5 years of famine to come. For another 5 years, the earth will be dry as bones, and no food will grow. But God told me everything that was going to happen. I had stored up grain for all of us." Grain for us all. Wow, that is a sad part, but he's probably telling the truth or telling a lie, I don't know. But if we get back on with the story, because we only have one more page, then I'll be done with you guys. Then, I just love reading with you guys, and I do it every Sunday. Just remember that. Now let's get back with the story. "Don't you see? You didn't send me here. God did. It was all God's plan from the very beginning. God sent me on ahead to save his people. What you meant for evil, God meant for good." With tears of joy in his eyes, Joseph threw his arms around his brother Benjamin and his older brothers too. He forgave them for everything they have done. Last page. Through all the years and all his troubles, God was really at work, doing amazing, wonderful thing. Even though what Joseph's brothers did was a terrible thing, God's love and forgiveness is so great. He took a terrible thing and turned it into a great blessing. Many years later, then will be another cup and another story. This time it will be the cup Jesus drinks from the Last Supper. At the Last Supper. And just like God sent Joseph, God sends Jesus on ahead to save his people, you and me. Just like Joseph's brothers turned against him, Jesus owned people will against Jesus too. Turn against Jesus too. They will put him to death on a cross. But God will turn that terrible, terrible day into the best thing to ever happen in the history of the world. 3 days later, God will raise Jesus from the dead. Jesus will rise from the dead, and everyone who believes in him will live with him forever. And it is all part of God's amazing, wonderful plan to save his people, you and me. Okay, so that was Joseph and the Silver Cup and God's saving power. That was a very great story. And what this story was about today, it was about his brothers and Joseph and Benjamin. And Benjamin's pack, they saw Joseph's silver cup. And then they're supposed to find Benjamin's cup, but they didn't know where it was, and I think they lost it. So tune in next time if you want to hear more on Bible Study for Kids and your host, Kay Leah. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe, and read more on the Bible, and we will see you guys, and I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye, and always love God very much.